my last question is this, and there are a few cases in New York that I've seen. There are children, 12 years old, 14 years old, 13 years old, and these kids, these children, they had tested and they had antibodies, but never had any symptoms. One case I know is a 12-year-old, and for 2 days he just had some sore throat and nothing else, and then he just shows antibodies. My question is, what is the situation with these kids? What is the future of the kids who go through this process and show antibodies, but there's no severe condition? Does this mean they're immune to the corona and they're completely safe in the future, or they're going to develop some sort of cancer or anything else with it?
What we see, corona is dividing itself to different sections. 0 or pre-birth to about 7 to 10. We see about 9 to 14, 15. We see teenagers to adults. We see adults to around age of 50, 55, and the rest. They all, most of them, can get common denominator 1. But each one we see now separate effects according to theirs. And we understand most of it, how it happens. In the age of 7 to up to age of 7 pre-birth, they get a corona, 37-degree temperature to 42, coma deaths. We see a lot of this at the moment. The new protocol procedure for this has been issued. In this age bracket, because the body is going through a transition from the process of puberty, we see the body as it's going through the change, it adapts very quickly to corona. This showed us that corona has emotional side effects into the dimension of physicality and gets confused. We don't see that much death in this bracket. We see heart attacks and stroke and brain hemorrhage in this group. We see heart attacks and pre-cancer condition in this group. And this group is vulnerable to death very rapidly, over age of 65. The pattern of corona is very clear for us sitting in the background and looking at hundreds of thousands of people reporting. You got to realize where I sit and connected to many chat rooms which are handling corona, we see symptoms coming up. You are part of one group. I see 20 odd groups. We see which nation is catching up. We see which nation is falling behind. We see new patterns coming up. And these children up to 7 to 10, they sometimes show the sign and they become immune to it. And sometimes they fast, die very quickly. At the moment we see in this group, from home to hospital, they die. So the emergency unit is going to be equipped at the point of arrival that transportation does not take place.
So, Mr. Keshe, the teenagers, so at the moment they're the most immune to this corona.
They are not immune. They are not immune. You're using wrong terminology. They are going through a process of transition of growth and active cells. And that active cell chews up the energy of the corona. The same active cell, after around 20, 25, 30, gives you a heart attack and death. in the process of teenagers, what we call puberty section, as the body is behaving totally different energy-wise, corona gets mixed up. At the same time, doesn't show any symptoms. At the moment, today, we do not see any symptoms. Most of the coronas, the ones who talk about the lung and the rest, is now something between 5 to 10% of the population. The other 90-95% show no symptoms whatsoever. No fever, nothing. One of my biggest concern is that this age group will never produce children. And we see the same here. I didn't want to explain this, but now we see it in 6, 7 countries. Has to be known. We see men with no active sperm.
Mr. Keshe, there was a news report from Canada today that the majority of the coronavirus, the new infections are in the under 40 years of age group, which is completely reversed as to what it was before, where it was mostly over the age of 80 or 85 was the majority.
I'm going to repeat, clearly understood. We see infertility with the sperms, with no life, which means those who are affected will never reproduce. This is the crime Gates has done. Now you understand. We request from all the governments to do a sperm test and egg test on all those who have been affected between 3 to 6 months after infection. This is a birth control. And we have seen it in 6 nations for past 6 weeks. Loss of libido, and at the same time, 0 sperm count. We have never seen this before. Those who are affected, first was reported in Iran, first was reported from China. We kept a look on it. We kept it very close. And now we can report it. No interest in reproduction. And men and women with 0 live egg and sperm. Just a robot.